The Caribbean Sea. It whispers promises of sun-drenched days, of turquoise waters and gentle breezes, a perfect escape. But sometimes paradise holds a secret, a dark one. On March 24, 1998, the vast, glittering expanse of the ocean swallowed a young woman whole. Her name was Amy Lynn Bradley. She was 23 years old, vibrant, and full of life. One moment she was there dancing on the deck of a luxury cruise ship, and the next, she was gone, just vanished. No note, no witnesses to her final moments, nothing but a haunting silence and a family's desperate, unending question: what happened to Amy? It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, a reward, a celebration. The Bradley family, parents Ron and Iva, their son Brad and their daughter Amy, had embarked on a week-long Caribbean cruise. They boarded the Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas, a majestic vessel promising adventure and relaxation. Amy, a recent college graduate from Virginia, was a responsible and gifted young woman. She was a trained lifeguard, a strong swimmer, and had a bright future ahead of her. She was the kind of person you'd never imagine trouble finding. The first few days were idyllic, exactly as planned. They sailed from San Juan, Puerto Rico, making a stop in Aruba. There were pictures, so many pictures. Amy and Brad, siblings and best friends, smiling for the camera. The ship was a whirlwind of activity. There were pools, casinos, and nightly entertainment. The timeline of Amy Bradley's last known hours is both precise and agonizingly incomplete. The night of March 23rd bled into the early morning of the 24th. Amy and her brother Brad had been at the ship's disco. It was a lively scene. They danced, they socialized. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, Brad decided to head back to the family's cabin. Amy stayed behind. She was seen a bit later, around 3 o'clock, with a member of the ship's band, Blue Orchid. The man's name was Alistair Douglas, known as Yellow. They were just talking, hanging out. Nothing seemed amiss. Later that morning, in the pre-dawn quiet, came the final confirmed sightings. Between 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning, Amy's father, Ron, woke up. He saw Amy sleeping in a chair on the cabin's private balcony. He looked at her for a moment, his daughter, peaceful against the backdrop of the coming sunrise. This single image, Amy on the balcony, the sea behind her, would become the last time her father ever saw her. Just a short while later, around 6 o'clock, Ron Bradley woke up again. He looked out at the balcony, and Amy was gone. In any disappearance at sea, the most obvious theory is often the first one considered: an accidental fall overboard. The ocean is immense, powerful, and unforgiving. The railings on a cruise ship are high, but accidents can happen. Could Amy, perhaps disoriented or sleepy on the balcony, have lost her footing? Investigators in the cruise line initially leaned into this possibility. It's a simple, albeit tragic, explanation. However, the Bradley family has always vehemently rejected this theory, and they have their reasons. Amy was a trained lifeguard. She was an excellent, strong swimmer. If she had fallen into the calm waters near the coast of Curaçao, her instincts would have been to survive, to stay afloat, to swim toward the nearby shore. Furthermore, her father Ron, who saw her just 30 minutes before she disappeared, saw nothing to suggest she was intoxicated or in any state that would make her prone to such an accident. And then there's the question of her shoes. Amy had left her shoes, her sandals, in the cabin. Her father stated that she never went anywhere without her shoes on. For them, the accident theory is too neat, too simple. If not an accident, then what? The alternative is far more sinister. The Bradley family, and many who have followed the case, believe Amy was abducted. They believe she was targeted by individuals on the ship, maybe even members of the crew, who saw a young, attractive American woman and planned to traffic her. Amy had told her family that some of the crew members were giving her undue attention and making her uncomfortable. Her father, Ron, recalled seeing Amy and Alistair Yellow Douglas parting ways on the deck early that morning. Just as they said their goodbyes, Ron passed 2 other crew members who looked at him, then said something to Douglas, who then turned and walked away in a different direction. It felt strange. It felt to Ron like an interruption, a moment that in hindsight seemed freighted with unspoken meaning. Furthermore, Brad Bradley reported his own disturbing experience. He claimed that a waiter had a conversation with him and his father, referring to Amy as their friend, and trying to get information about where the family was going. The waiter also allegedly took a photo of Amy with a group of people, singling her out. Then there's the final sighting by her father. Amy was on the balcony. When he woke again, she was gone. Could someone have entered the cabin, or lured her from the balcony onto the public deck? The family believes the crew had master keys and could access any part of the ship, making an abduction from a secure cabin entirely possible. The story of Amy Bradley does not end with her disappearance from the ship. In the years that followed, a series of potential sightings emerged, each one a tantalizing breadcrumb that led the family and investigators down a path of hope and ultimately, frustration. These were not just vague reports, but specific, detailed accounts from credible witnesses who were certain they had seen Amy Bradley. The first significant sighting came in August of 1998, just 5 months after she vanished. A Canadian tourist and engineer was walking on a beach in Curaçao. He claimed he saw a woman who looked exactly like Amy Bradley, flanked by 2 men. He said she seemed to be in distress, trying to get his attention. He even noticed her tattoos, a Tasmanian devil on her shoulder, a sun on her lower back, a gecko on her navel, and a Japanese symbol on her ankle, which matched Amy's. Then, in 1999, another shocking piece of potential evidence surfaced. A United States Navy sailor on leave and visiting a brothel in Curaçao claimed he encountered a woman who told him her name was Amy Bradley. She begged him for help, saying she was not allowed to leave. He didn't take her seriously at the time, dismissing it as part of the brothel's atmosphere. It was only later, when he saw her face on a television show about the case, that he realized the gravity of what he might have witnessed. Perhaps the most haunting potential clue came in 2005. The Bradley family received an email containing a photograph. The picture showed a woman, looking gaunt and distressed, posing in what appeared to be lingerie. The woman bore a striking resemblance to Amy. Computer analysis of the photo was inconclusive. Experts couldn't definitively say it was her, but they couldn't rule it out either. For the family, it was a gut-wrenching image, a possible window into a horrific existence. These sightings, these whispers from the shadows, keep the flame of hope alive. But they also fuel the nightmare of what Amy may have endured. From the very beginning, the investigation into Amy Bradley's disappearance was fraught with challenges. The first and most significant hurdle was jurisdiction. She vanished in international waters, on a ship registered in Liberia, and operated by a Norwegian-American company, just before docking in the Netherlands Antilles. This created a jurisdictional nightmare. Who was truly in charge? The FBI eventually became the lead investigative agency, but crucial early hours were lost in a fog of confusion and, according to the Bradleys, inaction by the cruise line. The family felt the ship's crew was more concerned with its schedule and reputation than with finding their daughter. However, the Bradleys contend that the ship was not sealed off as a crime scene. Passengers disembarked in Curaçao, potentially allowing anyone involved to simply walk away. This initial response, or lack thereof, meant that any potential evidence could have been contaminated, lost, or deliberately removed before a proper investigation could even begin. Over the years, the FBI has pursued thousands of leads. They have traveled to Curaçao and other Caribbean islands, interviewed countless individuals, and analyzed every piece of information that has come their way. The case file is thick with reports of sightings, tips from informants, and theories from armchair detectives. They have investigated Alistair Yellow Douglas and other crew members, but have never named any of them as official suspects. Despite the ongoing investigation, no arrests have ever been made. No one has ever been charged in connection with Amy's disappearance. For more than 27 years, the Bradley family has lived in a state of suspended animation. Their lives are defined by 2 distinct periods, before Amy vanished and after. Iva and Ron Bradley transformed from ordinary parents into relentless private investigators, spokespeople, and advocates. They have appeared on countless television programs, from America's Most Wanted to Dr. Phil, keeping Amy's face and story in the public consciousness. The emotional toll on the family is immeasurable. Every birthday, every holiday is marked by Amy's absence. The joy of family gatherings is forever tinged with the sorrow of who is missing. They have had to navigate a world of false hope, of cruel hoaxes, and of well-meaning but ultimately fruitless tips. Their search is a full-time job, one they can never quit. They have channeled their personal tragedy into a public crusade, not just for Amy, but for all families of the missing. The Bradleys' fight has highlighted the potential dangers of cruise ship travel and has been a driving force in advocating for better security measures and more transparent reporting of crimes at sea. Their vigil is a testament to the power of a parent's love, a love that refuses to be extinguished by time, distance, or silence. Today, on August 12, 2025, the mystery of what happened to Amy Bradley is as deep and dark as it was in 1998. The central questions remain unanswered. We know when she disappeared, we know where, but we don't know how, and we don't know why. We look at the photos of a smiling, vibrant young woman and wonder what became of her. Until that day comes, Amy's story will continue to be told, a haunting melody carried on the ocean breeze, a desperate plea for answers that have yet to wash ashore.